The silent stare that feels almost human. You're sitting quietly at home late at night, completely distracted when you suddenly feel something strange. That subtle feeling that someone is watching you. You look toward the doorway, and there's your cat, completely still, silent, eyes locked on you, without moving away for even a second. Not asking for food, not waiting for treats, not trying to play, just watching. And somehow, the longer that silence lasts, the more unsettling it feels. Almost as if your cat is trying to understand something about you that even other people fail to notice. Most owners ignore moments like this because they seem ordinary. Cats stare. Cats observe. Cats are mysterious. That's what everyone says. But researchers who study feline behavior explain that cats rarely focus their attention for no reason. Unlike many animals that react impulsively, cats often observe first and act later. Silence, for them, is not emptiness. Silence is analysis. And that changes everything, because what looks like a simple stare may actually be a silent investigation happening inside your cat's mind. Studies of feline behavior show that cats constantly monitor patterns. They observe movement, emotional tone, habits, routines, tension, calmness, and even small changes in body language. In nature, this ability helped them survive. A tiny movement could mean danger. A subtle sound could mean opportunity. Over thousands of years, domestic cats kept this instinct alive, but something unexpected happened. They started directing that deep observation toward humans, toward you. This is why many cats quietly watch their owners during emotionally vulnerable moments, when you're tired, when you're anxious, when you're sad. When you sit in silence without realizing your entire body language has changed. Specialists in animal psychology explain that cats are extremely sensitive to behavioral consistency, which means they quickly notice when something feels emotionally different about the person they trust. And sometimes, before you even fully recognize your own emotions, your cat already notices the change. That is why these silent stares can feel so strangely intense. Your cat is not simply looking around. Your cat may be reading the emotional atmosphere around you before deciding what to do next. Have you ever noticed your cat sitting nearby while staring at you after a difficult day? Or quietly observing you from the hallway without approaching? Many owners interpret this as coldness or distance, but experts explain that cats often express connection through presence rather than physical affection. They stay aware of the people they care about, even when they say nothing at all. And the unsettling truth is that your cat may understand more about your emotional patterns than you realize. Throughout this video, you're going to discover what cats are silently analyzing when they stare at their owners, why they do this more intensely with certain people, how this behavior is connected to trust, emotional vigilance, and survival instinct, and the disturbingly intelligent detail hidden behind your cat's silent observation that most people never notice. Because once you truly understand why your cat watches you in silence, you may never experience that stare the same way again. Your cat is studying your emotional patterns. Most people believe cats are unpredictable because they seem independent and emotionally distant. But specialists in feline behavior explain something very different. Cats are actually creatures of observation. Before they react to the world around them, they spend enormous amounts of time silently studying it. And the person they study the most is usually the person they trust the most. You. That means your cat is constantly collecting information about your habits without you realizing it. The hour you wake up, the way you walk when you're stressed, the tone of your voice when you're tired, the energy you bring into the room after a difficult day. Researchers who studied domestic cats observed that felines become highly familiar with human behavioral patterns because predictability creates emotional security for them. This is one reason your cat may stare at you in silence before approaching. Your cat is not being strange. Your cat is reading the emotional environment first. Cats naturally prefer to analyze before acting. In the wild, survival depended on this ability. A wrong movement at the wrong time could mean danger. Because of that, cats evolved into extremely sensitive observers of tension, rhythm, and behavioral change. Domestic life may look comfortable, but your cat's brain still works with those same ancient instincts. That is why even tiny emotional shifts in humans rarely go unnoticed by them. You may think you're acting normal, But your breathing changes slightly when you're anxious. Your movements become slower when you're emotionally drained. Your voice becomes shorter when you're overwhelmed. And according to animal behavior specialists, cats are surprisingly good at detecting those subtle shifts because they rely heavily on body language rather than words. This explains why some cats suddenly become more attentive during emotionally difficult moments. Many owners notice their cat silently sitting nearby after they've cried, experienced stress, or returned home emotionally exhausted. Scientists believe cats learn emotional associations through repeated observation. Over time, they begin recognizing patterns connected to your mood and behavior. And what makes this fascinating is that cats rarely interrupt immediately. First, they watch, they analyze, they wait. That silent stare is often your cat trying to decide whether the environment feels calm, tense, safe, or emotionally unstable. Experts explain that cats are deeply sensitive to emotional consistency because consistency represents safety in the feline mind. This is also why cats sometimes stare at their owners without blinking after a routine suddenly changes, a new schedule, a different emotional state, an unusual silence in the house. Your cat notices all of it long before you realize how much has changed. And, strangely enough, the more emotionally connected a cat becomes to someone, the more intensely they tend to observe them. Because observation is not always distance in feline psychology. Sometimes, observation is attachment. And in the next part, you'll understand something even more surprising: why cats sometimes stare at their owners without blinking at all, and what their body language secretly reveals during those silent moments. The reason cats watch you without blinking: one of the most unsettling things a cat can do is stare at you without blinking. No movement, no sound, just complete focus. Sometimes it lasts only a few seconds. Other times, it feels so intense that you instinctively look away first. And the strange part is that your cat often continues watching as if completely absorbed by your presence. Most people assume this behavior is random, but feline behavior specialists explain that a cat's eyes reveal far more emotion and intention than most owners realize. Cats communicate constantly through subtle body language, and their stare is one of the most powerful signals they use. The first thing experts pay attention to is tension. A relaxed cat looks very different from a stressed cat, even when both are staring. Soft eyes, slow blinking, relaxed ears, and calm whiskers usually indicate emotional comfort. But wide pupils, stiff posture, frozen ears, or a rigid body can signal alertness, uncertainty, or overstimulation. This means the silent stare itself is not the message. The body around the stare is what changes the meaning. Researchers who study feline communication observed that cats often use prolonged eye contact when they are deeply focused on something emotionally important. Unlike humans, cats do not rely heavily on vocal communication with each other. They communicate through presence, posture, movement, and observation. Silence is natural to them. And this is why many cats express emotional connection in ways that seem almost invisible to humans. A cat staring at you calmly from across the room may actually be showing trust. In feline psychology, trust often appears through relaxed vulnerability rather than dramatic affection. Cats are cautious animals by nature. They do not maintain prolonged attention towards something they consider dangerous unless they are actively preparing to defend themselves. So, when your cat watches you quietly while remaining physically relaxed, experts explain that this often reflects emotional security. In other words, your cat feels safe enough to simply exist in your presence without fear. And then there's the slow blink. Animal behavior researchers from multiple universities have observed that slow blinking in cats functions as a social bonding signal. Many specialists even call it a feline version of trust or peaceful intention. When a cat slowly closes and opens its eyes while looking at you, it often means the cat feels emotionally comfortable and non-threatened around you. That small gesture may seem insignificant to humans, but in feline communication, it can carry deep emotional meaning. What makes this even more fascinating is that cats often combine silent staring with emotional analysis. They are not just looking at your face, they are studying movement, posture, energy shifts, breathing patterns, and behavioral consistency all at once. Your cat notices when your body feels tense before your words reveal anything at all. And sometimes, your cat keeps staring because it senses something emotionally different about you that you haven't fully processed yourself. This is why so many owners feel strangely exposed under a cat's gaze. It feels intelligent, intentional, almost personal, because in many ways, it is. And in the next part, you'll discover something even more surprising: why many cats silently watch their owners during moments of sadness, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion, almost as if they are emotionally mirroring the humans they love. Your cat may be mirroring your energy. There are moments when a cat's silent stare feels different, not curious, not playful, not watchful in the usual way. It happens when you're emotionally exhausted, sitting quietly after a stressful day, lying in bed, unable to stop thinking, or carrying a sadness you haven't spoken about to anyone. Somehow, during those moments, your cat seems unusually aware of you. Many owners notice this pattern without fully understanding it. Their cat suddenly stays closer during difficult emotional periods, watches them more carefully, sits nearby in complete silence, sometimes without even asking for attention, just present, quietly observing. And according to specialists in animal behavior, this may not be coincidence at all. Researchers who study the emotional sensitivity of domestic animals explain that cats are highly responsive to changes in human behavior and emotional rhythm. They may not understand emotions the way humans do, but they are extremely skilled at detecting physical and behavioral changes connected to emotion. Your breathing changes when you're anxious, your movements slow down when you're emotionally drained, your voice becomes softer when you're sad, your energy shifts long before you consciously describe what you're feeling, and your cat notices. This is one reason cats sometimes stare at their owners more intensely during emotionally difficult moments. Your cat may be trying to understand why your behavior suddenly feels different from the pattern it learned to recognize as normal. What makes this fascinating is that cats often respond to emotional tension with silence instead of interruption. Dogs frequently react outwardly. Cats tend to observe first. Animal psychologists explain that many felines prefer cautious emotional monitoring because, by instinct, sudden reactions can create unnecessary risk. So, instead of rushing toward you, your cat watches carefully from nearby, almost like an emotional observer. And over time, many cats begin associating certain emotional states with specific human behaviors. Studies involving pet behavior suggest that cats can recognize recurring emotional routines in the people they live with. They learn what sadness looks like, what stress sounds like, what loneliness feels like inside a room. That is why some cats suddenly appear during moments when their owners feel emotionally isolated, not because they fully understand human suffering the way another person would, but because they recognize that something about your emotional presence has changed. And, strangely, some cats seem drawn toward those moments. Have you ever noticed your cat quietly sitting near you when you cry? Or silently watching you after an argument, during illness, or after an emotionally heavy day? Specialists explain that many cats become more attentive when emotional energy inside the environment feels unstable. Observation becomes their way of monitoring the situation. But there's another layer to this behavior that many people never consider. Sometimes your cat mirrors your emotional state without realizing it. Cats are deeply sensitive to atmosphere. If the environment becomes tense, anxious, or emotionally heavy for long periods, many cats start changing their own behavior too. They may become quieter, more alert, more attached, or more watchful around the people they trust. Which means your emotional world affects your cat far more than most owners realize. And maybe that is why a cat's stare can feel so deeply personal. Because sometimes your cat is not only observing your emotions, sometimes your cat is emotionally responding to them. Your cat perceives versions of you that even other humans overlook. And in the next part, you'll discover why many cats choose to silently watch the people they love from far away, and why distance in feline psychology does not always mean emotional detachment. Why cats often watch you from a distance? One of the most misunderstood behaviors in cats is the way they quietly observe their owners from far away. Many people interpret this as emotional distance. They see their cat sitting silently in a hallway, resting on top of furniture. watching from the corner of the room, or standing near a doorway without approaching, and they assume the cat simply doesn't care enough to be close. But feline behavior specialists explain something completely different. For many cats, distance is not rejection. Distance is comfort. Cats are naturally wired to monitor their environment from places where they feel secure. In the wild, survival depended on maintaining visual awareness without exposing vulnerability. Elevated spaces, hidden corners, quiet entry points, and distant observation spots allowed cats to study movements safely before deciding whether to interact. Domestic cats still carry those instincts today, even inside loving homes. That means when your cat watches you from across the room, your cat may actually be choosing the position where it feels safest while still staying emotionally connected to you. And that changes the meaning of the behavior entirely. Researchers who study feline environmental habits observed that many cats prefer indirect companionship. Unlike humans, cats do not always express connection through constant physical closeness. Instead, they often maintain emotional awareness from a comfortable distance. Your cat may not sit directly on your lap for hours, but it still wants to know where you are, what you're doing, and whether the environment around you feels calm or unstable. This is why cats frequently follow their owners without fully approaching them. They stay in nearby rooms. They sit at the end of hallways. They quietly appear in doorways. They observe from shelves, stairs, tables, and corners. Not because they are emotionally disconnected, but because they want silent access to your presence without overwhelming interaction. Experts in animal behavior explain that cats often prefer controlled proximity. They enjoy knowing they can approach when they choose, retreat when they want, and continue observing without pressure. This balance creates emotional security for them. And, strangely enough, some of the cats that appear the most distant are actually the ones paying the closest attention. Many owners never notice how often their cat is silently monitoring their movements throughout the day. Your cat may pretend to sleep while still tracking where you walk. It may remain in another room while keeping one ear directed toward your voice. It may quietly reposition itself every time you move through the house without you realizing it, because in feline psychology, emotional attachment does not always look obvious. Sometimes attachment looks like silent awareness. There is also something deeply instinctive behind this behavior. Cats feel safer when they can observe without being forced into constant interaction. Watching from a distance allows them to process emotional information slowly. Your cat studies your mood, your body language, your routine, and the emotional atmosphere around you while remaining in control of its own comfort. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. Many cats choose to stay near the people they love even when they don't actively seek touch. Their version of affection is often quieter than humans expect. Your cat may simply want to accompany your existence, to know where you are, to remain aware of your presence, to silently exist in the same emotional space as you. And once you understand this, those quiet moments when your cat watches you from far away begin to feel less cold and far more intimate than they first appeared. And in the next part, you'll discover one of the strangest and most emotional feline behaviors of all. Why many cats silently stare at their owners while they sleep, as if they refuse to completely stop watching over them. The strange moment when your cat stares at you while you sleep. Few things feel stranger than waking up in the middle of the night and seeing your cat staring directly at you in complete silence. No movement, no sound. Just those eyes fixed on you in the darkness, as if your cat has been watching for much longer than you realized. For many people, the moment feels unsettling, almost eerie. But feline behavior specialists explain that this behavior is actually connected to some of the deepest instincts cats still carry, even after thousands of years of living beside humans, because when you sleep, your entire presence changes. Your breathing slows, your movements disappear, your awareness fades. And in the animal world, sleep has always represented vulnerability. Researchers who study feline behavior explain that cats are highly aware of vulnerable states, both in themselves and in the creatures around them. In nature, sleeping animals are easier targets. That instinct never fully disappeared in domestic cats. Even inside safe homes, cats continue monitoring their environment during quiet nighttime hours because part of their brain remains naturally alert. And if your cat has formed a strong emotional bond with you, that instinct often becomes connected to your presence too. This is why many cats quietly observe their owners while they sleep. Some sit near the bed, others stay by the bedroom door. Some watch from furniture nearby, while others climb close enough to study your breathing and small movements during the night. To humans, this can seem mysterious. To cats, it often feels natural. Animal behavior experts explain that bonded cats frequently monitor the people they trust because those humans become part of their emotional environment. Your movements, sounds, routines, and presence create stability in your cat's world. When that familiar presence suddenly becomes still and vulnerable during sleep, many cats instinctively remain aware of it, almost like a silent form of nighttime vigilance. And there's another fascinating detail researchers have observed. Cats are extremely sensitive to breathing patterns and movement rhythms. Your cat quickly learns the normal sounds and motions your body makes while resting. That means unusual movements, emotional restlessness, sickness, or disrupted sleep patterns often capture your cat's attention immediately. This is one reason some cats become unusually attentive when their owners are ill, emotionally distressed, or physically exhausted. Your cat notices changes in your nighttime behavior long before words ever explain what's happening. And, strangely, many cats choose not to interrupt. They simply watch, quietly, patiently, as if remaining emotionally aware of your condition matters to them. Some specialists believe this behavior is partially connected to social bonding instincts adapted to human life. While cats are often seen as solitary animals, studies show they form complex social attachments when they feel safe and emotionally connected. Over time, humans become part of the cat's internal sense of territory, routine, and emotional stability. Which means your absence of awareness during sleep may naturally trigger your cat's instinct to monitor the environment more carefully. And perhaps that is why these moments feel so emotional once you understand them properly. Because while you are asleep, disconnected from the world around you, your cat often remains quietly conscious of your existence, not demanding attention, not asking for anything, just staying aware that you are there. And in the next part, you'll discover something even more surprising. How your cat's silent stare can sometimes become a direct message, and the hidden signals most owners completely miss when their cat is trying to communicate without making a sound. When the silent stare is actually a message, at some point, almost every cat owner experiences a moment that feels strangely deliberate. Your cat stands still and stares directly at you without making a sound, almost as if it expects you to understand something without words. And sometimes, a few seconds later, your cat turns around and walks away slowly, while continuing to look back at you. Many people ignore these moments because they expect communication to be obvious. But feline behavior specialists explain that cats rarely communicate in exaggerated ways unless they absolutely need to. Most of their communication is subtle, quiet, and deeply connected to visual attention. In other words, your cat often speaks through where it looks, how long it watches, and what happens immediately after the stare. Researchers who study feline social behavior observe that cats use directed attention as a way of guiding interaction. A stare before walking toward another room may be an invitation to follow. A silent look near the food area may signal routine expectation. A fixed stare after you return home may simply be your cat reconnecting with your presence after a period of separation. The important detail is context, because the meaning changes depending on what your cat does next. Some cats stare before leading their owners somewhere specific, toward an empty bowl, a closed door, a favorite resting place, a toy hidden under furniture. Specialists explain that cats quickly learn humans respond to visual cues. So many cats develop silent ways of directing human attention without vocalizing constantly. And over time, these silent communication patterns become surprisingly sophisticated. There are also emotional messages hidden inside certain stares that many people completely miss. For example, when a cat looks at you with a relaxed body and a slightly vibrating tail while remaining silent, animal behavior experts explain that this often reflects emotional excitement mixed with trust. Some cats do this when their favorite person enters the room or returns home after being gone for hours. The cat says nothing, but the body reveals everything. Other times, cats stare silently during emotionally intense moments because they are trying to assess your emotional state before reacting. If you are crying, stressed, angry, or emotionally overwhelmed, your cat may carefully observe your face and movements while deciding whether the environment feels safe or unpredictable. And this is where many owners misunderstand feline behavior. Humans often expect affection to be loud and obvious, but cats communicate emotionally through attention itself. The fact that your cat keeps visually returning its focus to you again and again throughout the day is often a sign that you occupy an important space inside your cat's emotional world. Your cat watches when you leave rooms. Your cat notices when you return. Your cat studies your reactions. Your cat learns your emotional patterns. And sometimes, the silent stare is not random observation at all. Sometimes it is your cat checking emotional connection without needing physical contact. Experts in feline psychology explain that cats form attachment through familiarity, predictability, and emotional association. Over time, certain humans become emotional reference points in the cat's mind. This is why many cats instinctively search for their owners visually even when they do not actively seek touch. They simply want awareness of your presence. And perhaps the strangest part is that many cats become masters of silent communication precisely because humans rarely notice how much they are already saying without words. And in the next part, you'll discover the deeper psychology behind all of this. Why cats quietly watch the people they love, and why silent observation may actually be one of the purest forms of feline attachment. The real psychology behind why cats quietly watch the people they love. After understanding all of these behaviors, the silent stare begins to feel completely different. What once looked cold, distant, or mysterious starts revealing something far deeper hidden beneath the surface of feline behavior. Because cats do not love the way humans do. They do not always seek constant touch. They do not always follow emotional rules humans easily recognize, and they rarely express attachment in exaggerated ways. But specialists in feline psychology explain that cats form powerful emotional bonds through familiarity, trust, environmental awareness, and silent presence. The people a cat truly loves become emotionally integrated into the cat's sense of safety and stability. That means your existence itself becomes important to your cat. Your routines, your voice, your footsteps, your emotional energy, your presence inside the home. Researchers who study human-animal bonding observed that emotionally attached cats spend large amounts of time quietly monitoring the people they trust most. Not because they are obsessed, not because they are confused, but because emotionally significant beings naturally hold their attention. And this is where humans often misunderstand cats completely. People expect love to look obvious. Cats often express love through awareness. Your cat watches you because your movements matter to its world. Your emotional state affects the atmosphere your cat lives inside every day. Your arrival changes the environment. Your absence changes it too. Over time, your cat develops an internal emotional map connected to your behavior, your habits, and your presence. This is why many cats silently follow their owners from room to room without demanding interaction. Why they sit nearby without touching, why they observe from hallways, doors, shelves, or quiet corners while pretending not to care. The connection exists even when it looks invisible. Animal behavior experts explain that trust changes how cats observe humans. A fearful cat watches for danger. A bonded cat watches for connection, stability, and emotional familiarity. That silent stare people sometimes describe as intense or almost human often comes from deep emotional recognition built slowly over time. Your cat learns you the same way humans learn the faces and voices of people they love. And perhaps that is why those silent moments feel strangely emotional once you truly understand them. Somewhere deep inside your instincts, you sense that your cat is not simply looking at you randomly. Your cat is emotionally aware of you. That awareness may appear quiet on the outside, but in feline psychology, quiet does not mean empty. Cats evolved as observers. Their affection often lives inside attention itself. Watching nearby, monitoring your presence, remaining emotionally connected without needing constant physical contact. And the longer a bond grows, the more natural this silent observation becomes. This is why some cats stare at their owners while they sleep, why they watch from distant rooms, why they quietly appear during emotionally difficult moments, why they continue observing even when nothing interesting seems to be happening at all. Because to your cat, you are not just part of the environment anymore. You are part of emotional security, part of routine, part of safety, part of familiarity, part of home. And maybe the reason your cat watches you in silence is much simpler and much deeper than people expect. Maybe your cat is not trying to understand the room. Maybe your cat is trying to stay connected to the person inside it. Perhaps your cat's silence was never emptiness at all. Perhaps it was simply the quietest form of love your cat knows how to give.